Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak on the Legal and Social Issues Committee's final report on the inquiry into capturing data on family violence perpetrators in Victoria. And firstly, I note it's been wonderful to be part of this committee. I'll soon be leaving this committee, unfortunately, to take part more in the Electoral Matters Committee. But it's been great to be part of this committee through the organ and tissue donations inquiry and more. With this inquiry into capturing data on family violence perpetrators in Victoria, I want to express gratitude to everyone involved, from the work of the Chair, the Deputy Chair, the Secretariat, colleagues and others. In particular, the Secretariat were amazing: Jessica, Danielle, Fred, Caitlin and everyone else who's been involved. And they've been amazing because family violence is one of the most urgent social challenges facing our state, so their work is extremely important. But I also wanted to acknowledge the work of the Chair, the member for Lara. I know we had many robust debates throughout this inquiry, but we managed to come to compromises and solutions when it came to the recommendations in the end. So I want to congratulate the Chair on all her work, and it does show that Liberal and Labor, we can actually work across the chamber sometimes and actually get joint results. I want to also acknowledge my other colleagues, the member for Eildon, the member for Euroa on the coalition side, along with the member for Geelong, Bayswater and Clarinda. In particular, I wanted to acknowledge the member for Eildon. Her attention to detail is amazing, and it's been terrific to work with her. She doesn't miss an I or a T. She dots her I's and crosses her T's and everything, and it's been absolutely tremendous to work with her, and it's really increased the value of this final report. If we look at key statistics, in 2023 to 24, Victoria recorded over 100,000 family violence incidents. This has risen from approximately 88,000 in the 2019 to 20 period. For too long, understanding of perpetrators has been fragmented, incomplete and at times dangerously distorted. Without accurate, inclusive and coordinated data, we will continue to struggle to develop effective interventions, hold perpetrators to account and keep victim survivors safe. I want to quote from a student called Charlie Runge, who is a student at Balcombe Grammar School, who spoke on this issue actually earlier this week through a Committee for Frankston and Mornington Peninsula event. She says that on the 25th of October 2023, Lily James, aged 21, was murdered at the hands of her previous partner, Paul Thiessen. After ending their relationship just days prior, Lily James was brutally killed in the bathrooms of the school gymnasium with a hammer by Thiessen. She goes on to say, on the 16th of November 2020, Celeste Mano, aged 23, was murdered at the hands of her ex-partner and work colleague, Louay Sacco. After a year-long campaign of harassment and stalking, Sacco stabbed Celeste Mano 23 times in just 2.5 minutes. She goes on to say, the impact of this crisis extends beyond just the women affected, and these impacts are felt across our nation. Domestic and family violence is the leading cause of homelessness for women in Australia. This places additional strain on support agencies such as the Salvation Army and leads to an increase in the need for crisis housing, which in turn has negative effects on our economy. She goes on to say that it's time for the government to take a stand and enact meaningful change. We need stricter penalties for breaching restraining orders and harsher sentences for those convicted of killing women. Thank you, Charlie Runge, for your comments and your passion in this area. So going into this inquiry, we looked at many different things. We looked at the fact that data is often siloed across systems, collected inconsistently, stored in disconnected formats, and rarely shared in ways that build a full picture. We need a statewide data mapping project to identify where this information lies, where the gaps are, and how these gaps prevent meaningful insights. Current data reflects only those who come into contact with police or justice systems, and many perpetrators, those outside the justice system, are not counted at all. We looked at the highlighting of risk of over-reliance on demographic profiles, which leads to stereotypes and allows some perpetrators to escape scrutiny altogether. We also look to the future. We have 61 practical and well-reasoned recommendations in this final report that I hope are fully implemented. We looked at better training and tools to embed the MARAM framework to trials of minimum standard datasets to create clear system-wide processes to correct the misidentification of victim survivors as aggressors. And we call for investment in research, including proactive information sharing, support for service providers, hospitals, schools and community legal centres, better attention to elder abuse and collaboration. This is not just a justice issue, this is a community issue.
Member for Pascoe Vale.